UCC, General Principles for Remedies. Okay, same common law rule here. To prevail on a breach of contract action, the non-breaching party must show what? They were ready, willing, and able to perform. Okay, UCC has a few more requirements. Remember, under the UCC, we have the perfect tender rule. The party is entitled to perfect tender. Of course, they can accept in part, reject in part, accept the whole thing, revoke the whole thing. Okay, but in any case, they're entitled to a remedy if they don't get perfect tender. And we know what those remedies are. We're going to go over them shortly. But let's talk about revoking acceptance first. Remember, under the UCC, you get delivery and you have to pay right then. So you can subsequently revoke acceptance if you find that the goods' nonconformity substantially impairs their value. Under the UCC, one can revoke acceptance when you subsequently find that the goods' nonconformity substantially impairs their value, the value of the goods to the buyer. Under the UCC, when can you subsequently revoke acceptance? When the goods' nonconformity substantially impairs their value to the buyer. But the seller has that's right to cure before the time for performance has expired. Okay. What's the statute of limitations for breach of contract under the UCC? Easy stuff. 4 years. This is a hard deadline. It can't be extended. The statute of limitations for the breach of a contract for the sale of goods is 4 years, and it may not be extended. When does the statute of limitations start to run? When the breach occurs. It doesn't matter if the other side knows. When the breach occurs, that 4-year statute of limitations starts to run. Okay, now the parties may reduce this to 1 year by a prior agreement, but otherwise, the statute of limitations, the 4-year statute of limitations for a breach of a UCC contract starts to run when the breach occurs, never when somebody knows about it. Okay. Let's talk about installment contracts. This is a pretty easy rule. Under an installment contract, when can the buyer reject an installment? Only if its nonconformity substantially impairs the value of that installment and can't be cured. Remember, the seller has a right to cure. Under an installment contract, the buyer can only reject an installment if its nonconformity substantially impairs the value of that installment and cannot be cured. When can you claim breach of contract in an installment contract? Only when one or more of the installments impairs the entire contract. You can only claim breach of contract when one or more of the installments substantially impairs the entire contract. Okay, one more itty-bitty rule. When does breach of warranty happen? On tender of the goods. Remember, the value to the buyer is the goods had they been as warranted. So when they're tendered, that's when the breach happens. And that's it for the UCC general principles for remedies.